Recording.
Yeah, wait, you never played Fire
We're
Emblem,
about to go
sure?
live.
No.
Guys, quiet, quiet, quiet.
All right.
Nick, you ready?
There's too many
Oh,
Fire Emblem games. I
well,
need to
that
know
was a
which one to
surprise.
start with.
Try Fire Emblem 7 first.
I have
All
never
right.
played Fire.
GameCube.
Seven's a good one. Path of Radiance on the Cube is great. Radiant Dawn on the Wii is also awesome.
All
Both
right.
easy to get.
Hey, guys. What's up with it? I think we're live right now.
Oh,
Oh, welcome to Fire Emblem, guys.
Welcome
The
to
official-
Fire Emblem and on me.
the
Yeah.
official Fire Emblem show of the Fire Emblem community.
You know who actually knows a lot
Let's play
about
the
Fire
Fire
Emblem? Inui. Inui knows a ton about Fire Emblem. He like tweaks those games and speedruns them. Anyway,
All right. Oh, take it in. Okay. So,
Cool story, bro.
first and foremost, welcome to Mail It On Me. If you guys don't know, we're primarily a melee-oriented podcast. So, talking about that aspect of the Super Smash Bros. Community. However, tonight we're going to talk about a bit more. This is Season 5, Episode 10, Coming Down the Mountain, because, we just reached the apex, and you gotta make that travel once again. Let's talk to the team, first and foremost. I'm not looking at the video, so who's in the chat? Let's start with our special guest tonight, the man from Team Oxy, as MC Dr. Z once said, the oxymoron. Get it? Oxymoron.
Oh,
Crimson Blur, what is up with it?
Salty blur emote. My
Dude.
favorite.
Sheridan hit me with the hottest fire this whole weekend. He was just getting me with lines after lines, and it came so unexpected. Straight in the face.
Oxymoron.
Dude, it was pretty bad, but I'm happy to be here, guys. It'll be a fun show.
Word. Thanks for joining us. Next up, let's talk to the man that got the Apex 2015 Community Service Award. One of two Melee Army members to get it this year. Three total. Three total. Juggle Rob, Juggle Guy, what's up?
Well, I'm looking at the Twitch chat right now, and I gotta say, I've always dreamed of seeing myself as a Twitch emote, but this is not the moment that I imagined it would be. That's all I gotta say about that.
Word. Next up, let's talk to the man with the sickest rhymes in the West Coast. 610 in this, even though I'm not sure if this is area code. Dr. Z, what's up?
I'm actually 415.
Oh man, I messed up.
Fleur, I love you. I wouldn't throw that fire to you if I knew you couldn't handle it.
I definitely appreciate the fire, dude. You got rhymes. You got bars, Sheridan. You got bars. I won't
Got
deny
rhymes
it.
like dimes.
Better than chilling, I won't lie. Better bars than chilling.
Well, thank you.
Ooh.
Oof.
Next up, of course, we went from Dr. Z to MDZ. What's up, my friend?
what's up, Prague? I am just actually pretty interested in seeing where this is going to be going tonight. We got a bunch of good topics, and I'm looking forward to going over Apex first and foremost. But before we get to that, Prague, how are you doing?
Oh, thanks for asking. Look at you starting off all business-like and buttering me up like I'm some kind of bread roll. Oh, I'm doing pretty good. It's been a hectic week for me. I went from leaving Apex early at like 3 a.m., getting home at 5, going to work at 7, flying out to San Fran that same night. It's been a fun couple of days. But yeah, it's been pretty good. But it's not about me, it's about what's going on right now. So really quickly, we got some news and some PSAs to get rid of first. We're going to have a moment of silence for our fallen brother who's moving on to bigger and better things. Kevin Toy, Mr. The Marth that lived.
You make it sound so
really
tragic. I see it.
It
I
is
see it
tragic.
as I am excited for all the opportunities that Mr. Kevin Toy, aka Pew Pew, is going to get because he's a fantastic player. Just one of the
Word.
very best talent that Melee has to offer.
I definitely
Especially
agree with you.
what
But
he
it's like,
showcased
why,
versus HBox.
yeah.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
But it's like, why do we have funerals? Do we mourn for the dead or do we mourn for ourselves? Think about that.
Maybe MIOM
Yeah.
is like Saturday Night Live. You know, you just look back and you're like, man, all these great comedians came out of it.
Yeah, dude.
Exactly.
I honestly, I see it as a stepping stone for a lot of great players. It's obviously okay. Admittedly, we're not the destination. We're not going to pour in the money like Cloud9 or EG or anyone like that. But to give someone like Kevin Toy an opportunity to rise up in the ranks, couldn't be happier.
We're really happy for him, and we definitely expect the best of him. However, we got a replacement. This is someone who should be receiving community service awards and whatnot, and hopefully that his joining of the team will be a bit of solace or a bit of recognition. I've known him for years, starting on Lou Links way back in the day. But I have to give a big shout out to our newest member of Melee It On Me, tonight's producer, Dark Dragoon. Shouts to Arizona, formerly from Connecticut. Any other words from you guys on that topic?
Dude, Nick is cool. Nick is going to help you guys a lot. He's obviously been a producer here for a little bit. So he's going to do his job well, and we all know and love him.
Yeah.
I hope the greater audience can grow to appreciate him as well.
Yeah, you guys might not know exactly who Dark Dragoon is. He's been in the community for a long time. It's great to have him on the Melee On Me team here. I know he started out in, I believe, Connecticut, and now he's out in Arizona. He's been producing for the show for a while now, and yeah, it's pretty hyped to have him on.
Nick's the homie, like stepping up to do to help out with some MIOM stuff. Just when I think John became really busy, and we were just everybody was busy. There's never the best time to do something. That's kind of the misconception. Everyone's always busy, so it's about us to find time to contribute, to add back to the scene. Nick's done a great job so far.
Word. And we're equal opportunity, as you can see. We even have a Me Too man in the squad. But I think it's time we actually get to the first topic of the evening. This past weekend, you already know, Apex 2015. What went wrong? What went right? Let's talk about it all. Joe Guy, you want to start this one off?
Why don't you talk about how your Friday began?
Where do we begin?
Begins with an alarm.
Yeah, it begins with a call from Toph at
I think
10 in the morning.
Maybe just to start off, we could give our accounts of the Friday of Apex, just like maybe a 1-minute version so we don't go over time.
Yeah. But
for me, I get to Apex Thursday night. We do MIOM live from Apex. It's all good. Everything's good. As I'm leaving, some things start to look kind of bad. Like I hear that there's one circuit breaker in the entire ballroom. I see that the max capacity is 400 people for one of the ballrooms when it's presumably going to hold 1,000. And, the next morning, we all kind of saw the ugly side of that because someone pulls the fire alarm, the fire marshal comes, the cops come, and the whole venue basically gets condemned, right? Someone want to pick up from there? We should do like
here's
like
another
a continuous story on Friday.
Here's another
at that
thing.
Point, I'm at my desk, and I start seeing these tweets come out, and I'm just like, oh God, I'm still at work. What can I do? Everything's going wrong. I was trying to make it there tonight. I don't know what to do, and my boss is out of the office, and I basically got nothing done because I'm making phone calls trying to figure out what's going on. I'm calling Matt.Z. I'm on Twitter trying to spread information, trying to see if people need rides and stuff, what's going on. And then?
And at this point, we're in the venue with the fire marshals, telling everybody we got to go. The staff members, we hung back to see what was going to come of it, but they all told us we got to go. They went to Christmas to talk to her. And the rest of us, we heard of a suite on the 14th floor, which became the war room, that's where we spent, I think, the next, 4 or 5 hours of our lives trying to figure out what's going to happen.
The saddest room in New Jersey. That's saying a lot.
Here's another thing. Here's another way you knew something wasn't going to go wrong. In addition to the breakers and the room occupancy thing that Rob brought up, those floors weren't even vacuumed. Those floors were filthy.
They were not at all. It was terrible.
I mean, honestly, like, me and Rob, I think, walked in, the Thursday night before, and we just looked at each other, and we're like, well, this is just not the greatest. this is not gonna go good. I tried to stay optimistic a little bit, but it was just bad.
On social media, like when you walk to the venue for a national, that's presumably gonna have 2,000 unique people at it. When you walk into that venue, you should be going, "Ooh, that's nice." You know, lots of space. You shouldn't be going, "Ooh, this is the venue."
We had to reorganize all of the tables that were in the B ballroom. I think it was the one that had Wii U and 64 or whatever, or Brawl. We had to reorganize all of the tables because there was like a good, you know, you saw the wall right in that room that was up because of the ceiling issues.
Yeah.
There was about 25 feet between those walls and the actual wall, all the way down the whole length of it. So everything got squished together. And, you know, the staff moved the tables and everything, and we had to go through it. You know, it was me, one of the Gaming Generations guys, volunteer, and Nintendude. We were just moving the tables to open up space, and, like, even still, that was not going to fit what we had at the venue Saturday. Like, not even close.
And there's clearly, like, if you look at a third of one of the ballrooms being condemned, that's kind of like the first sign that, like, it's probably I've never heard of a structural damages to 1/3 of a room, and then like the rest is like okay.
This third is fine structurally, but these 2/3, you know.
It's like, hey, the roof might come crashing down over here, but you know, if you stand over here, you'll be okay. Like that's not a thing. That's not a thing. That should have been.
Is that a thing? Do we have any engineers in here, or?
Well, I mean, just as a side note, to this date, I've still never seen the original main ballroom. Continue.
Oh, yeah, you weren't there for the first day,
you weren't there at all on Friday, huh?
I was there on Friday, but I was only able to get into the Splatoon room. So
you were okay. Yeah.
Yeah, they after all this happened, the fire marshals came and they cut off all access to those rooms. So we actually had all the setups still stuck in those rooms, and we had to basically beg and plead to like move everything out and see what we can do to get our stuff back.
So, my first thing on Friday was I got a call from Toph saying, "Hey, have you heard what's going on?" And I was like, "No," and he just says, "Probably no tournament." And I was just like, "What have I woken up to?" Like I was still in that half awake phase where you're just you haven't kind of collected your consciousness yet, and I didn't know how to process it at first, but then, you know, I got myself together, came downstairs, and we all headed up to the war room.
I had the misfortune of making the decision that I'd stay up all Thursday night helping like VGBC set up and stuff. So then when things came down, I still hadn't slept, and I just kept on trying to work, and that ended up being like 53 straight hours of like just going hard. Big ups to this company right here for helping me get through that. That was a hard little period, but yeah, I mean, it was rough. The little streaming setup. I mean, they actually didn't have internet for where Gimmer was. The pre-show was on the phone internet for Gimmer. So there was like no internet. The electricity was all on like one circuit. In fact, there was like a water leakage right by where VGBC was taping it, and it got on a bunch of Gimmer's equipment. So
didn't drops like fall from the ceiling on his stuff or something?
Yeah, a bunch of his stuff got damaged basically.
Jesus H.
Who wants to continue with the story on Friday? This account.
So how long were we in the war room for?
I think it was a solid like 5 hours at most at the longest.
It was less than that.
We were on the way to the new venue.
Do you know who would not know this information?
I thought it was about like 4 or 5 hours. So we got to the room at like 40
by around 2 o'clock. So it couldn't have been more than like 3 or 4 hours.
I think it was like 3 hours.
Yeah, 3, maybe 4 hours.
I thought we were in there at like 10.
No.
So
well, I don't know.
Well, that might be like 3 hours.
That'd be 3 hours then.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 3 hours.
We were like all running around in and out, I think, but yeah, that sounds about right. It was a very long deliberation process. Obviously, we all were throwing around ideas. Some of them were, you know, some of them were really desperate, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, everybody was just delegating around like responsibilities. Well, what's up, Prague?
So,
you know who would have no idea how the events occurred? Morad 40 would, and he just subbed. So welcome to the family, Morad.
Oh, welcome to the
Thank you.
family. Welcome to the family.
Welcome.
What's up with
Continue
it?
with the story. I know
Okay.
Morad wants to. I do too.
So we were all
Twitch
Twitch's web though. Twitch's web though. Welcome to the family. Twitch's web.
Oh,
My goodness, the
I'll
family.
give you
the
some
double,
Sesame
two quick
Chicken
ones.
didn't almost drop.
Two quick ones.
This bite is real. Continue.
Look at this pace, dude. This pace.
All right, so I think before we got the new venue, the plan was, let's assume we're not going to have the other venue or the other half of the venue at all, and we're only going to have that one ballroom for 2 days. So basically, we had to run this tournament with basically a third of the original time and space.
Ouch.
So,
Right.
I mean, everybody was just delegating responsibility all over the place. Got to find, how can we fix things, whatever. So me and Nintendo and a couple other people, we started working on a schedule in case that was, that was reality. And we had a plan which included something like single elimination up until like top 128.
And
Yeah.
dropping like half
Sure.
the events,
Did you
right?
say single elimination?
Single elimination,
I
dropping
was in
that is
favor of
crazy.
best of
entirely.
one,
That's-
but we would
Yeah,
do
is
single
3 out of
limb or
5.
best of
No,
one,
like,
something.
that is-
Yeah.
Those are
Yeah.
all crazy options, but the crazy thing is Webs and Ariso just subscribed and joined the family as well.
Like back to back.
Swear to
That was it.
God.
Back to
God.
back. Welcome,
Well,
guys.
another 2 quick ones. Wow.
You guys are loving the show. We haven't even really gotten started yet.
Oh,
Yeah.
We're
Go.
getting lathered right now, guys.
what are the chances back-to-back subscriptions, like line after line?
Let's do it again.
I don't
This
know.
reminds me. Just we got to go off topic for a little bit, but back in the original Tafo versus Tien call-out thread, where it was like notable players or whatever, the call-out of $1,000 by Daniel. Keep in mind, there's like probably 100 or 200 people viewing this at once. The very next reply, literally like
Just
2
Tien.
seconds later, was Tien saying, "You're on."
Yeah, just next to each other. Just
Line
next to each
after
other.
line. The
That's
two
insane.
back-to-back
perfect.
replies.
It was perfect.
That was amazing. Anyway, go on. Somebody else continue the story.
There were some ideas on trying to figure out, what to do for the brackets. We were saying there was like, best of 5 single elim or something like that, or just like cutting all the doubles, or some
Yeah, doubles
different
was
ideas.
Gone. Doubles was definitely gone.
Doubles was gone. There was another thing that we couldn't cut Wii U doubles because of
That's
the
right.
prize for the winners.
This is the
So we were gonna keep that. Yeah, so we are gonna keep that. And then there was like running 2 games on 2 days, which I don't remember what that was. But then a tweet goes live, and it's D1. D1's tweet goes live telling everybody that we can go to the venue, and we figure out that we're going there. The shuttles are coming in, and that's loading everything up. I think it was Tafo, Blur, Robin, and Nintendo all went to the new venue.
It was
Is
me
that right?
too.
No.
Oh, you sure?
Tafo wasn't there, right?
That
Tafo?
it wasn't
Tafo?
Tafo. It was
Okay,
me,
no,
Robin,
another car-
Arian, Nintendo, and his
Yeah.
buddy.
The first
Okay.
people to lay eyes on the new venue. Me, Arian, Sheridan, and Ten Dude.
What were your first thoughts? What were your first thoughts walking in there and just seeing the whole emptiness of it? Like, what was going through your guys' minds?
First of all, I'm the eternal pessimist, or realist, as I like to call it. We go to the Garden State Exhibit Center. I see the outside. The first thing that happens when we get there is we get locked out
Yeah.
for
that's
like
right.
10 minutes, and me and Sheridan have a snowball fight because we're bored. And we
Yeah.
try to throw snowballs at flagpoles. So that's not a good first impression. I thought, okay, yeah, this is not going to work. And I had thought that all along on the 45-minute drive. I was like, this has never happened before, even
Yeah.
on like a week's notice for a national this big, let alone a day's notice.
And
So
keep
I
in
was-
mind, this
there-
is
there
I
was
mean,
like
it was
no
like
way.
18 hours notice, not even
Yeah.
a day.
Yeah.
You know.
So from my perspective, there was no way. But then once we got in and we saw that venue,
Oh my God.
beautiful.
And
Beautiful.
we saw like those
Empty canvas.
poles,
Oh, yeah.
poles with the
Outlets.
such a plethora, a cornucopia of outlets on them.
Cornucopia, power drops. You could not find a better venue. Just disregarding the price, just looking at the structure, the space itself. That was the perfect venue right there. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
this like 50,000 square feet we can work with. This is gonna work. Now all our attention is focused on redoing the schedule and getting the mass transportation of attendees and equipment taken care of, because that's the missing link at that point.
Right.
Yeah, and big shout outs to that convention center, actually, the exhibit hall, because realistically, I don't think they had to be there that day because they didn't have an event plan, and they just got called up to do it, and that's why like we were waiting on site. They had to get there. All their staff was there like all
Wait,
night.
Crimson
Like
Blur.
big shout outs to them. What's up?
Yeah.
Crimson Blur.
Someone else sub?
Uh-oh.
Crimson Blur. Do you know that we have another sub?
Oh my
Oh,
God!
man.
No, no!
Shout
What's up with it,
Skitch.
Skitch?
Oh, skin.
Oh,
Number five
Skitch.
tonight.
Hey, what's up,
Dude,
dude?
tonight's show is already like a 9.5 out of 10.
Oh.
Let's continue. Shouts to the Foundry.
Oh man. So we got that venue thanks to Twitch, and then we made the calls. I think Red Bull ended up transferring all the equipment, and Gaming Generations basically somehow got into the room, got stuff. There's also Smash Shine Legends was the CRT provider along with Nebulous. They got their stuff onto a truck. Obviously, it was all a little like haphazard. Some of the TVs broke along the way, but you know what? We did it. Obviously, that's not great for the for the people who own them, but it was just CRTs, and we got everything inside. It took quite a few hours to both like we were making the layout, me, Sheridan, Rob, and then also we had to make the new schedule for it. That was like an all-night effort. And bringing everyone in. Eventually, like I think Full Metal and Maria and all them, they came in during the night, and we had to just coordinate this massive effort, including designing a new audio visual. If you look at like my tweet deck or like my tweet timeline, along with like Robbins and everyone who was in that area, you'll see us posting pictures of, how to build a Apex.
Yeah.
How to build an Apex like in like 5 hours, and we managed to do that like really quickly.
Unbelievable.
It was crazy unbelievable. And what was special about that is that it was the first time that I know of that all the major TOs and all the major like community leaders had actually worked together. Like it sounds simple because we've never held any animosity with each other. We just never just haven't done it, because we've all been in separate parts of the country doing our own thing. But when we all worked together, it was like magic, man. It was crazy. Things were just clicking.
Yeah.
We did what would take
And
any
that's
of us.
when I walked in.
Yeah, and that's when Prague walked in, man.
Yeah.
I got out of work. I crossed. I didn't get stuck in traffic. I made it to the old venue. It's a 20-minute drive from my job, and then, I get there and I'm taking pictures and stuff, hanging out, and then we start seeing people trying to figure out after the venue's been confirmed how to get to their hotel. So I end up getting an Uber for the Swedes, and ended up driving Axe, JC from Nintendo, and trying to remember who else was in that car. Robin from Australia, and I think Kelly was in that car too. But yeah,
But Prague.
we make to the. But what? But what? Are you going to tell me about Bob the Slob?
Bob the Slob. Welcome to the family, Bob.
Welcome to the family.
And what a good show
Dude,
today.
that's 6 subs, man. Thank you again, all you guys. Shouts to each and every one of you.
Oh, I think the
But
chat's
yeah,
asking. I think the chat's asking over and over again who flowed the bill for the convention center. That'd be Twitch, guys. Twitch basically saved everything. They just use like their day 6 Machina powers, like their god powers, and just save the day. Like this would not even be close to happening without Twitch, Red Bull, like Gaming Generations, all these. We didn't have the sponsors ready for this. Like it'd be over.
Word.
Yeah.
Word.
It was.
That was the
nice
first step.
seeing them all come together.
First step to this relocation idea is someone's got to bring out their checkbook and just get that done, get the ball rolling, and Twitch bailed the tournament out. Like it's not something to be proud of as the Smash community, but
no.
Considering exactly what was happening at that time, obviously we're glad. We should be thankful for Twitch for that. It's just like, in the first place, it is pretty terrible that this even had to happen. That's kind of the whole big picture message here.
Yeah, I think obviously that's a reflection for sure. I think that like when you look at it overall, like the fact that the first venue was booked is very suspect, simply because obviously when any of us walked into it, we were just like, what's going on here? But I also know that the venue was booked like a year before. Maybe there's something happened. Who knows? But I would have loved to. I would love if this didn't have to happen, especially since we lost a day. There's a whole bunch of other logistical issues, like the ferry system, the shuttle system that we had wasn't perfect. I know Tear Bear from SoCal. He's like a top 5-player in SoCal. He could have finished like top 8 at the whole Smash 4 tournament. He got DQ'd. There's a whole list of like players, top and bottom level players who got DQ'd. All skill levels who got DQ'd. You hate to see that happen. So there's a lot of prices to pay for the whole thing, not just monetary.
But when you're talking about prices to pay, do you know it's only $5 a month to subscribe to twitch.tv/melee at Omni? Because Leah Zuri, I don't know how to say your name. It's got a lot of vowels and a Z in there. But you just subbed. You know that information. So thank you for supporting us. Welcome to the family. We'll learn your name. You just have to like say it for us. I don't know.
Yeah, welcome to the family, Leah.
We'll continue.
At this point, is it a family or is it a clan? This is out of control.
Well, the
big family.
It depends what you go with. No.
Smoke on Mike like smoking Joe Frazier, the Hellraiser. All right, but
wait, you lock L. Just keep going. That's 8. That's 8. Are we gonna hit 10?
That's a
Are
combo.
we gonna get to double digits?
Dude,
We're here right now. Are we getting it?
Oh my goodness!
Oh, TD Clips. Is that our boy TD Clips from UMA? From UMass Amherst? TD Clips? Is that our boy?
Can we be honest right now? Like, we want to tell the story too. I mean, we love the subs. We want to tell the story too. But I think we're okay with these interruptions, so keep them coming. But yeah, let's keep talking about Apex and whatnot.
So what time? I think it was around 10:30 when everything was finally set up, and I wanted to do the stress test. So we walked around and turned on every single TV and system in the venue to make sure that nothing terrible would happen. And, we got everything turned on. Everything worked fine. And it was nice because, like, at that point, like, I felt like my work for that day was finished. And I just, like, looked at these, I mean, over 100 setups.
But Sharon, do you need an icon? I need an icon. I need an icon just to join our family. Continue, Sharon. Welcome to the family.
So yeah, it didn't actually like completely finish until like 4 a.m. or whatever. But overall, like the bulk of the work was done by even 10:30. Considering that, like that's how fast everything happened. Like we're talking about, we thought there was no tournament at like 4 or 5 p.m.
Oh my god!
Yo, wait. How do you guys feel right now? Because I think my tummy hurts a little bit.
This Chinese food is any good for me right now.
Oh my god, the Chinese food in New Jersey, never again.
Oh,
who was in that room with me?
I didn't have that.
Worst.
Yeah.
But yeah, continue with the story.
I had pizza all weekend. So we most of it got done within like, we thought there was no tournament by at like 5ish, and then we had most of it done by like 10:30. That's how fast Apex was built. Obviously there was still like finishing pieces until like 4 o'clock ish, but I think we released the schedule like at like 9 p.m. or something, and like we were relatively ready to go. I know that like on that Friday night I went to sleep somewhere around the 4:30, and I was like, I was able to rest easy. I was like, I think that tomorrow we're gonna look into something. It's gonna be able to happen, and that was a crazy realization to make going into the night.
Crazy progress from like 2 p.m. for me. This tournament's canceled. Like as far as I'm concerned, it's a done deal. Yeah. There's no way the venue switch is even gonna work. To like 5 p.m., okay, if this mass transportation thing works out, then this venue is solid. It could work. To like midnight, wow, this is going to work, and I cannot believe it. Okay, here's the sad part. The reason, all the national shows...
The sad part is that no one even acknowledged Splendid SSPM.
Oh! You interrupted my passion. My speech.
All right, keep going, Rob. Keep going, Rob. We got this. Here we go.
The sad part is, in order for all the national TOs under the same roof to work together, it took the biggest Smash tournament of all time almost getting canceled. So here's the recipe for the next tournament. You book a tiny venue, you get the biggest turnout of all time, and then you say, sorry guys, you guys have to bail me out, otherwise everybody loses. See, that's what I don't like about it. It's just
here's what we do.
Terrible.
We hold Genesis 3, and then when we open up the doors, there's just Bob back in there, just like setting up the tables, and he's like, oh, hey, what's up, guys? Come on in. And it's just him in this ginormous venue.
No, it's him in this big rotating chair, and he turns around. Like,
In a dark room, no lights.
Yeah, dark room. He's like, turn on the lights. And we do.
Man.
It's just him sitting there. And he's like, who's ready to bail me out?
My optimistic viewpoint, I mean, this is so optimistic, but my optimistic viewpoint of this is that maybe we all work together and saw just how awesome we are together, and we'll actually like do some efforts towards consolidation and structure and things like that. I think that we've needed for a long time. If this all this calamity goes towards that, then it was well worth it, kind of. But there was a huge price to pay.
And all, but you got to realize the level of productivity on that day, that the sense of urgency, you can't grow that organically from from circumstances that aren't bordering on disaster, right? So that kind of reminded me of like a hackathon where you have the best minds. You have this set amount of time. You just got to get shit done, and it got done because we had to get it done. Nobody else would have done it, and it's hard to replicate that for a future tournament. Yep. That's the realist point of view.
Mm-hmm. And you know who we can be thankful for being there to photograph it? We had Mr. Tempest Rob, RM Paul, just subbed to the channel.
Whoa.
And
thank you for subbing. And you know what? You guys should just go follow him on Twitter real quick. I'm going to post his Twitter in the chat.
Emily, Robert, Paul, those photos, like every Apex, they are amazing. Just I'm constantly amazed by the shots that he captures, like the moments, because I don't see that in any other tournament.
Rob, we need to hire Twitter chat. We need to start hiring Tempest Rob for our events. This guy's God. Why are we doing that? We got to talk about that. That guy's too good.
Anyway,
let's not forget one GCS Chris, who also subscribed. Welcome to the family.
We're aren't we at like 15 now? This is out of control.
All right, welcome to the family. Very nice.
Sick with it.
Where were we?
So how did you go to bed that night? How did you feel going to bed? I felt like it was one of the, I mean, like in terms of the work that I've done as a TO, one of my best days, you know, in terms of just getting things done and, you know, making it all happen.
I don't know if like one of the best days or whatever, but definitely one of the most important days, just because I don't think people realize how close the tournament was to being canceled and how disastrous that would have been for the community. We're talking about the biggest tournament of all time, sponsored by Nintendo and Twitch, bigger than it's been ever before. Just so many people are stakeholders to this tournament. Not to mention, of course, the players who flew out, who traveled out, who spent time, money, and effort to come out to this.
Yeah. So for me, like, I went to bed. First of all, I was actually, even though I was up, I said like 50 some odd hours. I actually had a hard time going to bed because I had drank like 50 Red Bulls. But going into it, like it was a weird, you know, dichotomy. On one hand, I was thinking it's going to be one of the most incredible community efforts and tournament experiences that we've ever had, simply because of the storyline behind it. But on the other hand, it's also one of the biggest event calamities that we've ever had. It's not a good look when you talk about, you look from the outside, you say, hey, why should we sponsor, why should we support these grassroots events? Are these guys even legit? I think it's the ultimate example of that we're not legit, because frankly, the event preparation for that event was probably the worst I've ever seen.
Terrible.
Yeah, so you look at that and you have to weigh it like that. It's like, how are we going to manage these relationships in the future if this is the kind of product that we're bringing out on the base level? Do we need them to do everything? Because that's effectively what ended up happening, except for a few, you know, we made a schedule, we moved things over. It's incredible, but let's not forget the bulk of it is the paycheck, or is the checkbook.
Yeah.
Oh, shout outs to Peanuts fan 1995 for subbing. Is that TL Peanuts?
I don't think so.
MIOM now
maybe,
sponsored by Team Liquid. That's our boy. That's our boy Mike Hathaway. What's up,
way.
Dude?
All right.
Welcome to the family. We're getting all the photographers tonight.
Man, nice. Dude, the photography of that event was actually the best I've seen at Smash tournament. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah, I'm gonna post TL Peanuts Twitter in the chat too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it sounds like we've gone through a lot of the points of you know, the menu itself being, not the best, how to kind of prevent these things from happening, especially if you guys are starting to grow on like Smash TO Justice League. But, still got a bit of the ugly to go with before we get to the good. Right? There were 2 times when I think the crowd kind of voiced their opinion in the not most tactful manner. So, originally, when we were doing the rotation into top 8 for Smash 4, there was a bit of an outburst, and then, of course, right when 0 won. And unfortunately, we've seen a couple of accounts of the people who started it, and they didn't mean anything malicious from it, but still wasn't quite the best route to go. We're hoping that people have 1 year. So we've seen this with Nairo last year.
Yeah,
it happened again this year, and neither way it wasn't how we like to see our scene represented. Period.
And I know, like, I was on I was the MC on stage for that.
How did you get that job?
Sheridan,
I think you did a great job, Arian. I think you did a great
job as the MC.
Hey, man. I might not have had a voice, but I had the heart, Sheridan. I had all the heart, the passion, the crowd.
I maybe would have liked to see, Yo, Reggie! Like the Evo guy, but...
I was thinking the whole time maybe I should go a little overboard. Maybe I should hype this up crazy.
It's good.
But I tried to do it chill. I tried to do a chill atmosphere. But yeah, I remember like when we had to do the transition to Smash 4, that was like a huge outburst. And I was on the mic. I was trying to tell people, yo, you gotta chill out. And I know that honestly, like everyone wants to look at it like as a thing where it's like, hey, no respect, all this stuff. And I think obviously there's a large portion of that it rings true. That we're not completely past that stuff for sure. But I think it's also that we were looking at it and it was like on a time issue, people didn't want to wait those 3 whatever hours, especially because there was a blizzard outside. And people were kind of like, hey, can we just finish up Melee and then maybe go to Smash? And it was that kind of situation. Obviously, I don't want to downplay it, but I also want people to understand that with the time crunch, the event definitely ended at 2:30, and people having to work the next day. That's what was in a lot of people's minds as well.
Yeah.
And I think Scar's article that was posted on Melee on me, was it yesterday? I think so. I think this represents a nuanced understanding of the whole situation. It's nobody's saying that you can't like Melee more than Smash 4, right? It's completely reasonable to understand those frustrations like Blur brought up. So at the same time, like I think you don't want that disrespect, and we're again not saying it's intentional, but you don't want that disrespect shown to you if you were in the other place. I mean, if you were at Evo, and when we had our very first year at Evo, when our finals was going on and Mango was getting his trophy, what would you have felt if the whole crowd was shouting for Street Fighter or Marvel or whatever? That's I think the clear test is put yourself in the other position and see how you would like it.
Personally, I wouldn't have minded if the FGC had started chanting Marvel after Melee ended, but that's because I think I would have context as to why they're cheering, which I did for the Melee chant at Apex, and just I think all the casual onlookers are just gonna have to trust me when they say when I say I don't think there was much malicious intent in that chant. I don't think people were saying,
but it is. It's
of course it's not good. It's not good to see that at all. I'm not excusing that, and like personally, like last year, I was one of the people who was chanting Melee right after Nairo, and I regret that. It wasn't right. But on the other hand, it's good to have context as to why they're doing that. And some of these Reddit posts that are just like ostracizing, it's just like it's a little bit ridiculous how people are interpreting the Melee chants. I really think you got to look at the context of the situation a little bit more.
Right. Yeah. And
also, in addition, sorry to cut you off, but
no, go for it.
In addition to that, I think I forgot. Thanks, Sheridan. Continue.
Okay,
I'll come back.
Before we continue, let's just acknowledge we had Electrolyte sub.
Electrolyte.
Another one.
Welcome,
Electrolyte.
Is there
And Sean
Rondo's
Numbers.
got electrolytes.
Sean
Sean Numbers
Sean
from
Numbers.
Teespring. Sean Numbers, otherwise known as that dude from Teespring.
Nice.
With double jump.
He ties me.
Yo, I just tried to do the tagging of Sean Numbers. He already left. He subscribed and he left. No, he's back. Okay.
But also, I think one thing that contributed as well to a lot of the issues that we saw in Apex was just, the change of the venue. There were separate ballrooms planned, stream schedule planned, and, people forget an entire day was lost. And I think that led to a lot of the issues as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think what I'd like to point out is just, that okay, here's something that I hear brought up by apologists for the cheering saying it was fine is why shouldn't I have the right to express, my passion for the game that I want to see played? And I think that really is it's trying to deflect away from what the real issue is nobody's trying to say you don't have the right to do it. You have the right to do a whole lot of things that are still not good ideas and are still disrespectful and insensitive. So we're just asking you to, even though you have those rights, exercise them in a more thoughtful manner. So the rights discussion, I think that meme needs to go.
Yeah, I mean, you have the right to do it. It's just about whether you should do it. And overall, I think that it was a situation. It was definitely a situation. And maybe one thing we could have done to resolve that last minute was to split up the staging and maybe have one game on one stage, one on the other. But obviously, there's other considerations to make. There's already already a stream schedule planned for doing it this way. You have to all of a sudden coordinate with another streamer to change up what they have with their equipment and stuff. It's not that simple, guys. It really isn't that simple. There are things, and I know that what I saw on the thread, like people are blaming like the weirdest people for all these problems. Like I was there with Gimmer the whole time. I was on stage.
It gets on my nerves when people just watching the stream try to talk about what happened at the tournament. You guys who watch it, I mean, when I watch the tournament on stream, I know I have no right to talk about anything that happened at the tournament without more context. And everyone just got to take a step back and realize that.
Yeah.
Bros, Gimmer was behind a camera and a laptop the whole weekend. He did he was just trying to make sure the scenes were transitioning right. Like, chill. Like, that's not what he was doing. Like, he was just trying to make a stream work with that many viewers.
All right. Speaking of Gimmer, we had kind of a bomb drops today. There's some news involving him. Anybody want to start us off on that note?
Well, I think we all saw the announcement that was posted on Smashboards. If you haven't seen it, take a look. It's definitely front page news. VG Bootcamp will no longer be streaming PM or uploading it. It sounds like not just that, but they will be looking for a new permanent home for all of the previous videos uploaded there and whatnot. And I think that's definitely a humongous deal. Gimmer and VG Bootcamp have been at the forefront of streaming now for a while, and everyone knows that there was kind of this relationship, especially with the early days at Xanadu. PM and Gimmer kind of came together out of that. However, times change and things of that nature, and it's really a sad situation for all involved because he wants to support. However, this is his business, this is his livelihood, and you don't want to risk losing it all. Anyone else have thoughts on it?
So, from my perspective, here's the thing. Obviously, Calvin did a lot, and that's Gimmer, did a lot to build up the Project M scene, and he kind of built it to a point where when you see him have to leave it, it's a big blow to the scene, and everyone knows that, and that is where the justification of a lot of the anger is going to come from. Is that, hey, we expected this product, Where is it now? I paid money for this product. I wanted this to be out there. I contributed to making sure you can deliver me this product. Where is it now? And here's the problem with that, though, is that the product is necessarily streaming Project M. And if you look at that game as it is, and I want people to make no assumptions about what each of the developers behind, Brawl and the licenses required have made. We don't know all that stuff, and I would not make the assumptions that they're necessarily involved for this. But there's a lot of legal stuff that's wrong with Project M. There's factually a lot of stuff that make it not the most legal entity. And if those things are resolved, like if Project M Game makes those conversations with the license holders and somehow makes their game legal, then I could understand a big brand like VGBC reassociating with it again. But the problem is that because those steps haven't been taken, it's a massive risk for a group like VGBC to associate themselves with that, and I understand it. I think the key first is obviously as painful as it is, and as much as this sucks, obviously Project M, we all play it, we know it. It's an incredible accomplishment for the community, is that we have to step back and look at reality a bit. Is that game ever going to be on a main stage at an EVO or whatever? Is it going to have big pop bonuses? Is it going to have the support? What are we building towards with it, Are we building it to be bigger, or are we building it right? Where are we going with it? And I think the conversation to have with it is not necessarily what does this mean for VGBC, but overall, like, what can we build that to be, and what do we want it to build it to be if it has all these legal problems underlying it? And is there ways to fix that? Is there ways the Project M dev team themselves and the people behind it can try to fix that and make an effort to fix it? Or else it's just asking too much, honestly, of a lot of these people who are just normal small business owners who don't have control over these things.
So here's the pattern that I think some of us have noticed about the PM community is, as a TO, thankfully I haven't experienced this firsthand in NorCal because our PM scene is really not that big, but I've heard a lot of reports from other people that the PM community feels entitled to the work that the other community puts in terms of event organization and streaming. And again, I don't want to make this sound like this is everybody, but this is just a pattern that we've been noticing. And I think this shows you that, there needs to be more leadership in their community for getting their things out on their own kind of effort. And it's, on the one hand, like, I understand the frustration because, they have to put in more work than maybe any other game community because they made the game themselves and they're doing all this testing for it. They have to get all the Wii's ready, and it requires a lot of coordination among them. So I can understand it when they say, we've done all this work for our game, why don't you help us out a little bit, because we've made this great game for you guys. But it's just the unfortunate reality of the nature of business. They should have. I think we all kind of saw from the start that Nintendo's involvement might have presented a roadblock for them somewhere down the line, and I think a lot of people just kind of ignored that and just waited to see what would happen without having any kind of backup plan involved. And the thing is, when you rely on other people to handle some aspects of your organization from you, when somebody gives you something, they can also take it away. And if you build your community and scaffold it around what somebody gives you, once they take it away, what are you left with?
Okay. For that, I think one important thing that I want to be the reaction to this, at least to some extent, is that I don't want any natural assumptions to be made about exactly what Nintendo's doing or the other license holders of this, because we don't really know that, and it's really easy to make those obvious assumptions and leaps when we don't know it. And let's just simply say that Project M as a game is not, a completely legal entity. It does not have its own licenses in tow. And that's really the bottom line of it, is that it doesn't Nintendo and VGBC not necessarily have had like a long-standing partnership or something. Nintendo and Apex work for one event, but that doesn't necessarily mean VGBC and Nintendo and all this stuff. It's all a big web, and I think we don't all know the relationships there, and it's really easy to make the assumptions on it. Whereas it's everyone wants to have a finger to blame on this, but the reality is that it's the real issue is what Project M is, and not what VGBC is, what Nintendo is, or what anyone's stances on this is. Because Project M, as what it is as a whole, needs to be addressed for it to grow as itself. What it is what's the problem here, not what Nintendo stances and all this stuff that are all frankly speculation.
Also, I think the biggest thing that people need to realize is whenever someone leaves a void, that means there's something to be filled. If you're not happy with VGBC's decision, there are other venues out there. I know 20 Locator, I think, is streaming right now as we speak. If that's your main route, then there are other options out there. And who knows, maybe you can be the one to be the next gamer, to be that person. There's a void to be filled. Do what you can if you care about your scene. No one's saying that it's dead. It definitely has seen far better times without saying. But you have to go ahead and push and strive, no matter what you are, who you're doing. So.
Yeah, I think it's kind of unfortunate because for years, for a long time, we embraced the idea of Nintendo getting involved, right? And now that they are, like, various sacrifices are going to be made, and PM, like, by nature, it's just, at the end of the day, it's still a mod, so it's going to be really hard for events. And the unfortunate part is, as someone like Gimmer grows, like, he can stream PM if he feels, when he's small time, when he's just another streamer. But once you become the gamer we know today, and you're in a position in the community where, like, you're a key player in everything, you're a key stakeholder in everything, if he feels that the risk is too high and he has reason to believe that, then that's the decision to make.
Right. And I think, like, you look at these other streamers who are currently streaming Project M, like, let's say you guys all sub to 20 Locator now, even Matchup Gaming, whatever you do, they're going to eventually become big too, and they're going to have these same problems. It's not like they're going to be have a different decision point here. The fact of the matter is that you include PM alongside the other games like Smash 4, Melee, whatever, and it naturally puts those games at risk too. And so you kind of have to make a decision there, where it's like, hey, do we risk the tournament for these other players because of the legal liability that Project M provides us? So you could say, yes, okay, PM helped Gamer so much in building that, and that's true, but so did those other games. And so there is a decision that has to be made there, and it's like I said, it's just a natural part of what PM is. And I think maybe, hey, if we get a better relationship with the license holders involved, maybe there's some progress that can be made. Maybe there's something there. But for now, I understand where Gimmer's coming from. Yeah, it's just an unfortunate reality of what we have in front of us. All right.
Yeah.
So, real quick, I see, in cases like this where it seems like one game or another doesn't get the treatment that people would like it to have, we see one unit being invoked to kind of express their, kind of discontent with how things go, and, what happened to this one unit ideal, right? I mean, one unit, I think Robin said it earlier in chat. He said, we're all going to support one another, but we all have the games that we like to play. And you know, we're going to lead the charge for Melee because that's the game that we have interest in. And the community leaders for other games need to step it up and do something for them. I mean, who's making it happen for, you know, for the other games right now? I don't really even know. I mean, these big tournaments are it's the top TOs right now are almost all coming from the Melee side. And you know, we love Melee, and that's where our heart is. And when you tell us that we're not being one unit by not devoting equal attention to other games, not holding it at our tournaments, I think that misses kind of what one unit is supposed to be.
Yeah.
I mean,
also, I think one thing that one thing that goes without saying, and you know, this is definitely one of the things that's being talked about tonight. There is no one Band-Aid fix for the entire community. You know, what's good now for Smash 4 may be extremely detrimental to PM and whatnot. There is no one true fix, so that's also part of it. But
the dilemma of one unit is often that we share resources, we share risk, we share liability between each other. So naturally, there's sometimes competition. So you look at Smash 4, Melee on stage, you know, who goes first or whatever. And we had the chance that said Melee. That was a natural resource limitation between the two games and a time crunch that we had. We had to choose one game to be on main stage right then, and those players can leave sooner than the others. You know, and you see this everywhere with setups, etc. That's always going to exist. And so one unit shouldn't be about, hey, let's include every game in every tournament ever. That's usually not even good for the tournament experience. It's more about, hey, let's respect each other, support each other where we can, and as long as it doesn't provide an extra strain or an extra risk onto the other game's players, let's fit each other in and help each other where we can. And I think when we look at the Project M issue, we can see where that could add an extra risk for, you know, a VG bootcamp. If VGBC gets taken off YouTube because of Project M, how much worse would that be? How much worse would that really be? It's a lot of issues, you know, all bundled up into one. And like I said, it's a ton of speculation, and that's the worrying part about it. But overall, we have to just go forward with, you know, what we have. If you love Project M, do what you can to make it bigger. But I'm telling you right now that there's a lot of hurdles for that game to move on and become bigger as an esport for what it is. You can play it, and it's fun. That'll be great. But the hurdles are going to be there until they're resolved.
I think the one unit label needs to die because it's just been completely misconstrued over the months, and
I tend to agree.
You know,
yeah.
The person who originally said it, you know, SFAT or Pew Pew or one of the NorCal guys, right?
Here's what it was. It was Shroomed and Pew Pew. That was just the name of their team.
Right.
And they were watching the movie 300 one night, and there's a speech about one impenetrable unit or whatever in that. So they were just having fun, and they decided that their team name would be one unit. And, you know, we kind of co-opted that. I don't want to even say like totally seriously. It was almost a little bit of a just having fun with that idea during the donation drive to Evo the first time. And in that case, the idea behind one unit at that point was that what's good for one Smash game is ultimately going to be good for all Smash games. I mean, Melee happened to have the opportunity at that point, and Brawl didn't have an opportunity. And the idea was that if Melee gets this opportunity and gets big, that's going to be good for all Smash games. And I said the same thing, not in so many words, but I echoed basically similar sentiments when Brawl got to MLG in, 2009, 2010. I said, this is, you know, it's great that Brawl has this opportunity, and I think that no matter what happens with it, it's only going to be good in the end for the Melee community because, you know, without that Brawl coming to MLG, maybe there's no infrastructure for MLG in 2014. So that's what one unit is about, is when there's an opportunity for one Smash game, we all support it. It doesn't mean we have to devote our efforts to, somebody else's self-serving idea about, their ideal Smash tournament.
I will support other Smashers in their endeavors if there is, I don't know, like if there's a pull to get Brawl into this tournament, on the other side of the country where I'm never going to have a chance to attend. I will support it with my vote. I'll spread it on social media. I will support the other games, same with Smash 4, PM, whatever their causes might be. I will not go out of my way to lead the charge and fight the battles for that game, because it's not what I'm most passionate about, and I wouldn't be the most effective leader of that charge. And therefore, by natural incentive, it's easier for the leaders of those respective games to lead the charge and fight their battles and get support from other Smash members, other community members. That's how I see the one unit thing. I just think the term needs to die because it's not what anybody on social media, on the Reddit monsters, the stream monsters. It's not anything like those guys think it should be defined.
It's an oversimplification, and obviously, I think that if you look at it, the best work is usually done by the most passionate people, and if at the end of the day, if BGBC or any other streamer isn't passionate about that game anymore, and I haven't heard most of those people playing it as much anymore, then let them do what they want to do, man. Let the other people carry the torch and keep doing it. As long as they're providing good content for the overall Smash community, sub to them if you want to. Sub to them if you like what they're still doing and the new content they're putting out. And if not, do part ways, whatever you need to do. But overall, the community is going to move on from this situation, both the Project M community and the other game communities, the other Smash games. And like I said, I think someone in the chat said, why do we want to be esports? And I said that in my last statement. It's well, we're especially the Melee community and the Smash 4 community as well. We've kind of taken I call it the blue pill, like in the Matrix. We've kind of gone down this path. We have a lot of people who are.
We totally have.
We're like real life celebrities, or we have basically real life celebrities. If you ever walk with Mango through a shopping mall, you'll know the impact and the viewership that we've already gained. And for that, you can't hold those players back. They do want that. They want to go there. And a lot of these organizers also want to start, going and seeing and doing bigger things. And I know that some people are going to have a hard time accepting it, but that kind of structure and that kind of stuff is going to lead to better events if it's in the right hands. Yes, we don't have a necessarily perfect experience with it when we've had outside organizations do it. But how dope would it be if we had money behind the grassroots scene and we had all these resources provided for us? You can call it a sellout if you want, but at the same time, those same organizers aren't obligated to support, every game if it's going to hold back the rest. You have to look at it in a pragmatic standpoint and what these organizers are giving up for what they're getting.
Right, and I think if anything, people should be upset at the leadership within their own games for not doing more and not looking towards people like Apex or Juggle Guy or myself or Arian to do something about it.
But do you want to say the PM guys recently put together their own sort of podcast in the wake of the whole PM uprising? Can't remember what it's called. I think if you go to SSB PM, the subreddit SSB PM, you'll be able to probably find it in one of the top posts on there.
Message hosting.
Salt Mines.
Salt Mines. Are they live right now?
Message hosting it. I think they had a June bug one earlier.
Oh, that just looks like
I'm pretty sure
that just no. That I don't think that's. They had an actually organized thing. I know the guy who runs Smashing Grounds in Massachusetts was a part of it, and there was just a couple of Project M members. It's called the Salt Mines podcast.
Yeah.
So they're stepping up to do that at least. I believe that's going to be the first of many. It's kind of what they want to be is the PM version of MIOM, and have people come together and talk about their issues. So it's not that they're not doing anything. It's just that they're at the point in their development that Melee was, where you could say maybe 4 or 5 years ago, where we're still trying to gain of viewership and people tuning into the broadcast. Like MIOM, when it started up, were you guys weren't necessarily hitting 916 people per stream. Well, maybe in the hype with the Evo stuff, but just generally speaking, they're building themselves up right now. And as long as people continue to do it and to put the work into it, and just feel like that's what they need to be doing, then they'll see themselves just kind of level up as a community.
Right, and Melee and Omni happened because of what we saw as a decline in our competitive scene, and maybe that's what they need to get themselves started. Is something like this happening to them, and they all get organized, and maybe something great will come of it, and I'll be happy to support them. If that happens.
Right, but we've seen these things come and go. Within Melee and with other communities. There was a brawl one. I don't remember what that was called at all, but there was a brawl one that went for a little bit. I don't think it still goes on. I'm not sure if it does.
I think it was State of the Game with T.O. Joe and
with EFG and all. Yeah.
State of Brawl or
State of Brawl. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, if all you really need to host a tournament is a room, some electricity, and some CRT televisions, and well, actually, you don't even need that. People will bring them. So you get that, and you can get started. Realistically, like obviously, VGBC pulling out is not good for the overall national scale. Other big TOs pulling out is not great for the overall national scale, but those tournaments made their decisions, and if that community wants to bounce back, those are some of those steps that they can immediately take to help themselves.
It looks like we're trying to get in Warchamp 7. If you don't know Warchamp, of course, one of the main guys over at Smashboards. Are you in? Is that you?
Yeah, I think I got it.
Oh,
all right, you're in. What's up?
All right, cool. Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up, bro?
So what's up? A lot of things to say, to be completely honest. First and foremost of which, anybody who's like getting mad at Gimmer or VG Bootcamp or like anything along those lines for all of this is being absolutely ridiculous. Like anybody, as soon as like the Invitational happened, anybody who didn't see this kind of thing coming with Nintendo, if Nintendo was going to keep their support, anybody who didn't see this coming for Project M, just given the nature of the project, you're just kind of living in like a fantasy world. This is something we expected, but on the flip side of the coin, like people need to stop thinking that this is like a death sentence. Like, okay, we weren't at Apex, big deal. It's one tournament. Like, it doesn't matter that it's Apex. It's one tournament. It's one event that Project M wasn't at. If we lose VGBC, it's one streamer. We still have Game Underground. We still have Tourney Locator. We still have even Mashup Gaming. We have tons of people that are still running this game. We have tons of people that are still passionate about this game. And, like, the people who are freaking out about this being such a big problem and such a bad thing are really blowing it out of proportion.
Okay, before we continue this discussion, Warchamp, can you tell us your position in the Project M community and what you do for them?
Sure. So I originally joined as like web developer. I made the new website that happened about a year and a half ago, I guess. So I originally joined as kind of the web guru for things. And from there, I kind of progressed. I did some of the video editing. I edited the 3.0 trailer and 3.5 trailer. And I've also dabbled in managing the social media and stuff.
Sweet. Yeah, those trailers were pretty dope.
Thank you.
So going off this, you said earlier that why we shouldn't necessarily blame Gimmer or blame other streamers. Can you elaborate on that? Like, why do you think people are placing that blame, and why do you think that's not warranted?
I think a problem for a lot of like the Project M people who like consider that their main game is that we have this Nintendo support it's just starting to ramp up now. We're starting to see some of like the early effects. Gaming generations, obviously, we don't know the details, but they obviously got hooked up by Nintendo with a bunch of Wii U's, copies of Smash Wii U and GameCube adapters for them to run events at Apex. And I think for a lot of PM people, what we're seeing is a lot of tangible losses and not much in the way of tangible gains for the Smash community. Like so far, we've seen like Nintendo's like social media support for us, and the equipment they provided for Apex. And that's been like in the last 3 months of us losing Apex, and now we're losing VGBC. That's all we've really seen. And like, it's understandable that people are a little upset by that, but they should be taking that anger and instead channeling that energy towards building their scene in their local area and building up PM in their local area.
Yeah, I think it's super understandable, but and really, this thing it just sucks, you know. And there's no other way to put it. If you love Smash, you know that you know it'd be great if everyone could just do what they're doing, and we could all just keep making great content like that. But we can't change the law, and realistically, pointing the blame at anywhere but like the law is kind of misfounded. Like you said, it could be, you know, Nintendo meddling. Maybe it's not. Maybe just VGBC wants to keep themselves safe, you know, because they've grown too big. Who knows? But overall, it's the law of the matter that makes it an issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think that the next steps for the PM development team is now? Because maybe we'll see this being a growing issue. Do you think that maybe they'll figure out ways to distance themselves from those licenses, maybe create new characters? Like, what do you think they can do out of this situation?
That's honestly what we're gonna have to figure out. Like, I don't think anybody on the team has any plans of like stopping the hard work. Like, since 3.5 came out, we've been working on the patch just to address like some of the issues that cropped up. Some of the content that we wanted to put in 3.5 wasn't ready in time. And that's actually part of the reason that 3.5 ended up coming out in Hawaii time once again, was because some of the content we wanted to have in 3.5, we found like last minute issues and we had to like take it out and get rid of it and like revert a whole bunch of things. So there's a bunch of stuff that either didn't make it into 3.5 or needs to be fixed in 3.5. And like the whole team's been working on that. A bunch of the programmers have been working on the PAL. You know, we haven't forgot about it. It's still being worked on. It's obviously kind of difficult to like take something that at the underlying level is ridiculous as Project M is and completely change it like to fit what PAL works out. Because for anybody out there who doesn't know, like all of the stuff for Project M is either edited files or assembly code. And assembly code, it's like you could build a castle with building blocks, or you could like gather some dust and make blocks, and then you build your castle. Like working with assembly is really, really ridiculous, and like huge props to the people on the team who are capable of doing that, because it is really an absurd talent. So like taking all that stuff and then completely shifting all of that stuff to work on PAL is actually a very monumental task. So they've been working on that. Everybody else has been working on stuff for the 3.5 patch. We don't have a number yet, but like everybody's still working on stuff. So like we're not slowing down, and I hope the community is not slowing down in running tournaments and going to tournaments and making content for PM, because we sure are not.
Yeah. So you mentioned other streamers, other places for people to go and see PM content. Now that VGBC's gone, give some shout outs. Give some shout outs. Who does good content?
Okay, so first off, I think there are people that don't actually know, but there is a tab on the PM website for streams, and that will list every single Twitch stream that is set to as playing Project M. So like even right now, like a quick refresh, Game Underground is still live with their event. Even Matchup Gaming had some stuff going earlier. Tourney Locator, I think they had some issues, so they weren't able to do their stream, but they are still recording all of the matches tonight and will be uploading them. So like that content's not getting lost. I can't remember the stream that's taken over Project M at Xanadu, but Project Mondays at Xanadu are still happening. VG Bootcamp's not streaming it. There's another group streaming it that unfortunately...
UMD Smash, I believe.
UMD Smash.
Thank you. That's what it is.
Yeah.
They are streaming Project M at Xanadu. Like, the tournaments there aren't stopping. So, like, I think a lot... Like, it's just... So many people are taking this as a lot worse than it really is.
Action plan for people who want to support. People like... you know, what Sheridan talked about is, okay, we don't have the knowledge or the passion necessarily to fight another game's battles, but what can we do to support?
Right.
Really quick, Windy City Smash, another one I forgot. The answer to that question is support the people that are still doing this content. Like, Obviously, I'm sure it was a very difficult decision for Gimmer to make. It's not one that he made lightly, but there are still people putting out that content. So support their content. Watch what they're putting out. Go to your local events if you don't have them. Like turning a lot of people, they look at something I think like Apex, and they just see like how huge and what like the scale of it, and just kind of get intimidated from organizing an event. But if you have a group of friends you play PM with, you probably have at least 2 setups. So like make a couple more friends, maybe got 3 or 4. You can probably pretty easily run like a 30-man tournament off 4 setups in a reasonable amount of time. Like
Yep.
absolutely. And so like it's not hard to kind of learn the basics. We have challenge now, which is
Yeah.
like so easy for organizing these things. Like just get some friends together, get some of their friends, get some of their friends, and just run something and see how it goes. If it goes well, turn it into something monthly. If it goes really well, turn it into something weekly. Maybe you can start up a stream. It's not hard now, especially with OBS being out there and free. You just need a computer basically. That's not terrible. Like
Indeed.
not everybody's looking for the best run tournament and the best run stream every single day of the week. Just put stuff out there, make it happen. Take the energy from this and turn it into that.
So, if you'd make a single statement to like basically quell people's anger, because obviously I know how this thing works. Reddit's been roasting people for weeks now. It's like first we had Alex Strife, now like even and then we had Chillin getting like a million memes about him just for losing a match, and now lately we've been having Gimmer and D1 of all people, getting blasted for this. Though these guys are obviously been longtime contributors to the community. For us, they're a lot of our good friends, so it hurts us to see them treated that way, especially in the public eye. Um, is there anything that you could say to those people to basically say, hey, you know, blah blah blah? What can you say about that?
I mean, I love PM. And all the supporters love PM, and the other people who play the game that they prefer, they love their game. There's no reason to hate on people for that. Respect what people play, and just channel your energy into building the PM scene in your area, and just support all the PM stuff if that's the game you prefer.
Yeah. Ooh.
All right. Well, again, more challenge now. Better than all of you. One of the guys put his heart, blood, and tears into how it is now. And it's been some rough times. I mean, starting with Apex, but, you guys had solid leadership. And times of strife are when they're mixing stronger in the end. I know we're all hoping for a good ending, but none of us know what the ending is going to be going soon. Thanks for joining us on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
I think
thanks,
we're going
Warchamp.
to,
Thanks, Warchamp.
For everything you do on
I think
Smashboard,
we're
too.
going to take,
Thanks, man.
yeah. Also, one of the best roommates I've ever had in a major.
Thanks, Frog. It
You're much better than MacD.
Ooh. Wow. Woo. Said it.
I think we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be back soon. We're gonna finish talking a bit more about Apex 2015 results and
Apex
all
results.
that stuff.
Haven't even talked about it yet.
We're gonna talk about the video games. We're gonna talk about the actual games played.
Gonna
Whoa.
get to the actual gameplay. Very nice.
Yeah.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah. So, all right. We'll be back after this messages. Stay tuned for more Mainly It On Me or after this. Hey guys, we are back. Thanks for staying with us here on Melee and On Me. Hope you guys like that 5-minute breaks. I still didn't finish my dinner during that. But actually, this is going to be, because of, I guess, all the topics that wound up happening tonight, we're kind of changing gears. We're going to talk a bit more about Apex 2015, results and whatnot. We'll save the fun stuff for our next time. This is going to be kind of fun as well. So let's get into it. Joe Guy, why don't you start out with some talk? Well, first, let's introduce. We had a trade. Warchamp, of course, thank you to stepping in for a bit with that discussion. And we're bringing back another person to receive an Apex Community Service Award. What's up, Taffakins?
I'm still recovering. Waking up at 6 after National was terrible, and I ended up oversleeping for this. I'm sorry.
Oh, man.
So you were just getting up.
Wow.
I immediately knocked out, and then I woke up.
For the viewers of the archive, I want to note that it's 8 p.m. West Coast time right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about Salty Sweet results a little bit. There's obviously there's so much that happened gameplay-wise at Apex. We're not going to be able to cover it all. Maybe next time we'll cover the rest, but Salty Sweet figured it was really important. This was, first of all, some of the best production value I've ever seen. Shout out to Papa Paint.
Yeah.
We
Gorgeous,
really
absolutely gorgeous.
Daniel talked about how other Smash games need to improve in how they present the narratives, the stories, to make the viewers care. We had no issues with that whatsoever during the Melee Salty Suite. Every single one had a trailer, a narrative to it. Let's just start. Let's go down one by one. Leffen Chillin'. Can we start with that?
No, that was the last one. We should start with the blowout with the Eichelman and
Kage, Eichelman,
and Bizarro.
That was not even worth talking about.
Let me be honest. I heard Kage was dropping out.
I want to talk about it.
Go ahead.
I want to talk about it because Eichelman fought valiantly. However, you put him in the face of Bizarro Flame, who is doing Tekken-esque axe kicks on stage. And he just, I don't know what it was, if it was the stage, if it was just being outclassed as a player, but he definitely did not have his best day up there. However, what that all led to, of course, Kage was sick, Bizarro called him a fraud, and now we're hearing that maybe at EVO,
that's right.
There might be a $1,000 money match between the pair. So,
honestly, obviously the match was a blowout, but basically it's set up. Probably the hype.
It was enjoyable. I mean,
it was first enjoyable. I mean, Eichelman got up tilted. Like he called out an up tilt. That happened. So that's I'll take it every time. But basically now it's set up like probably the most hype exhibition that we've seen in a long time. Kage Bizarro as a concept sounded good, but now there's legitimate beat. They actually care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, like, it takes a little bit to go up on stage in front of everybody, knowing you're probably going to get trunched. So,
well, I heard two things on that matter. That Eichelman, he did say to some people he's never been in front of a crowd like that, and it's a very powerful experience.
Yeah,
right. It's a very powerful experience if you never have, and I think that's probably going to help him as a player. Actually, it's just something that kind of pushes you forward. But he also, I heard that he money matched Bizarro, just like on a calmer station. And beat him.
Whoa!
So I don't know how true that is. I heard it. I don't know how true it is.
This is not rumor it on me. Matt
Are you just dropping Florida? Like Florida put little words into your ear and you just spat it out, dude? I wouldn't trust that for a second.
Yeah, I don't know if someone can confirm that.
Yeah.
Let's move on. What was the next one? Was it Cold Bull West Balls or I can't remember the order. I feel like
it was Cobalt West Balls, then Axe Silent Wolf, then Show and Leffen.
Cobalt West Balls. Honestly, this was maybe the only one that didn't really have a narrative. It's basically two top players just going at each other, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And West Balls 3-0'd him, from what I understand. I actually missed this one.
He did a bunch of cool combos, and that's sweet. So that part was cool. And then I think that the line that everyone took out of it was the talk beforehand, right? It was like, I'm gonna shine you till you start crying, What was that line?
Yeah. There, do you see that? Somebody lays over some music to that.
You can definitely make a dubstep track with that as like the chorus. I can see it.
You know what's really funny? There's like Valentine's cards with like the players' faces and their quotes on the card.
Yeah. And Axe Silent Wolf. That was.
What happened with that? What was the result of that?
It went to game 4, I believe.
3-1. I think it was 3-1 Axe.
3-1.
Was there a
So
four stock?
Yeah.
there was no 4 stock. We're happy
Okay.
to report. For
Okay.
Silent
Yeah.
I don't know.
I like the professionalism at the end of that, where it's like Axe was just like told everyone, "Yo, guys, Silent Wolf is a really good player." That was nice. That was heartwarming.
Axe is so humble. He's like, I remember when I first met Axe at like FC in 2012. He was in the middle of 4-stocking me in a friendly. He's like, "Oh, young guy, you're so good." I was like, "Are you got trolling, or is he just that nice? He's that humble."
Yeah. But I think he actually meant it in Silent Wolf's case.
Oh yeah. You can stop now. We can move on.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I think.
Is this left and chilling now?
most people. No, we gotta go. We gotta go back in time. We gotta go back to
Oh, yeah.
06.
Oof.
Forgot about this.
I'm gonna crowd surf my way back to New York. PC
okay,
Chris
that
taking
happened.
it over Ken.
See,
So
that,
Aaron-
That was one of the best moments
Aaron-
I've seen in Smash.
I
My
think that
PayPal-
shadow was.
My
I don't know.
PayPal at gmail.com. Send me
Okay,
that.
I don't know why so many cameras were fixated on my face for that particular match. But like, there's on my feed, there's like 300 pictures of my worried face that entire set. That was not the best moment for your boy. That was Ken definitely could have been better prepared. I'm just gonna say it's my fault. I take the blame. Blame it on me, like Akon. That's I definitely did not prepare him for
Are you
this,
saying
man.
Prime Blur maybe needed to step in and give him some tips? Is that what you're saying?
I say it. What I'm trying to say is that before the tournament, Ken was just playing Smash 4. If we had
Exactly
like,
what I told you when I
if we
said
had Kings of Cali 4 Ken, that's a that it would have been a different story. But
Correct.
honestly, Ken's been out of the game, and it's
definitely 5 for 5 in my salty sweet predictions.
You know,
And-
the crowd surfing thing, I thought that was like a callback to the 2006 tournament when Ken got crowd surfed after
Yes.
his defeating
Totally
PC
was.
Chris. Yeah.
This is the perfect
That was
throwback.
yeah, it was great.
Salty needs one of these, like a throwback. You have husband and wife on the commentary. You have Ken
Yeah.
countering PC's Falco on Pokemon Stadium. Like this is just great.
Yeah.
Every time
Fantastic.
happens.
it was actually amazing. The crowd surfing thing was awesome. But I just wish there was a little bit of a different result. If PC could have done that to any other man in the community, I would have enjoyed it a little bit more. It was a rough night.
PC.
Dude, the
I'm
chat's
just
mad at
saying,
me for Johnny for Ken, and I'm gonna own that. I'm gonna do it for his sake.
I see a lot of salty
I'll take it, guys.
Man.
Can I just say one thing? When I said, well, there are two things I want to say I talked about the last time I was on the podcast. One, I talked about PC Chris living with Nico, who is a godlike Marth main back in his day that people don't know about now.
Yep.
And two, we'll get to this later on, but I also made a remark about a certain player being the certain main in a certain style tournament. But we'll get to that later on because we have one more salty sweet match to go. There's a difference between being a veteran and being old. That's what I said leading to commentary for that one. Leffen kind of showed that Chillin he might be doing that maybe do that Madonna thing. He might be in the borderline.
Violence said it best. He posted on my Facebook page right after Leffen Chillin ended. He said, M2K versus Juggle Fox is no longer the biggest slaughter in Melee history. Leffen versus Chillin is that new set. And having watched that live, the 5-0, as I predicted,
I think we all, yeah.
Let me
I
just
don't
say
remember
this.
what we all said on the show, but
I want to do like a Stephen A. Smith type intro to this. Is that like I know Chillin. I grew up with Chillin. I know his family.
here we go.
He's a good friend of mine.
Hey,
You took showers with him.
Chillin dude is a good friend of mine. And boy, oh boy, he was not ready for that moment. All I wanted to do was give him a hug after, but I didn't want to intrude. I just want to kind of let him go outside, have his moment. 'Cause I know it was a rough time. I know that I know the feeling because I have lost to a Kirby before. I know that
Takes a big man to admit that.
the next time, actually, this will last for years. He's never gonna be able to escape it. The next time he does anything, he enters a stream chat, he talks to anyone, he goes to a tournament. Some kid, some Melvin behind his keyboard is gonna make a joke about this. They're gonna think they're so witty, so rich, so witty about it too. That's where my fear for him comes, and that's as a friend, I can only relate, and I feel sorry about it, and I'm sad that his came to a greater audience for it. But boy, was it painful. Boy, was it rough. Boy, was it bad.
Oh man, that was.
Well, he had a chance to walk away with the game. I think it was game 2 on Fountain.
Game 2 specifically, yeah.
Like, I think they both just squandered like 3 opportunities in a row, and Leffen just happened to clutch it out.
Yeah.
Dude, he had a dash attack to a jump cancel up smash. And you know, the way I look at it, if he got that, you never know. It could be 5-1 in his favor, right?
No.
Hey. You never know.
Calm down, Aaron.
Bro,
Hold it down,
give him
dude.
something, man. Give him something to say. Come on. Chill, dude. I
more
love you.
Any more thoughts on Leffen Chillin'?
But,
We got top 8 to talk about.
My last thing with that is that if you are a Chillin' fan of any capacity, you guys need to give him your love. The man needs. This is one of those moments where you give your friend some love and share some empathy in this moment, because it's rough out here for a kid. Sub to his channel. Sub to his channel, people.
I heard Chillin' Nation dissolved completely after that.
It's in a bad state. It's It's definitely Ethiopia right now.
Wow.
Jesus.
Wow.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Definitely some
before we
ISIS
get
going
into
on
top 8,
inside there.
I just want to remind the people what I said before Apex. I said that Android was the best Sheik player in teams, and everyone looked at me like I was crazy. Hold that shit. Let's go to top 8.
Oh, hey, you know who won the tournament as Sheik? I'm just kidding.
Do you know whose back is hurting him so much because of all the liquid that he has on it?
Oh, that was a solid one. I'll give you that.
Guys.
I don't know. It was kind of gassy. But anyway. What was I saying before? We were getting to. All right.
Android.
Hold that shit. Next up, top 8. So top 8. I don't think anyone predicted this top 8, and no one predicted top 8 in that order. Like, what? Huh? Someone.
I think
Sheridan, tell me.
I'm so first.
Who was in 7th place?
7th place, we had my man from NorCal, Shroomed.
Yes. And Kirby Kaze making his return to top 8 glory at a super major for the first time a couple Apexes ago.
Yeah.
22.
I think we knew it was just a matter of time for Kirby Kaze. He'd taken a long break.
He's back.
On his return, he had some losses to Samus's.
Yes.
Which he'd rather forget about, but I think if you look at the last few months, he'd been clearly on an upward trajectory, and it's really great to see him make that appearance back in the top 8 again.
Yeah, dude.
And Shroom has done it before, hasn't he?
Shroom got now, and he did it with Doc, so he's done it with 2 different characters.
Shroomed is one of those people.
Amazing.
He's I always think of this. If you're not a top 10 player, when you switch mains, it seems like you take 1 step back in order to try to take 2 steps forward. He has finally surpassed that previous level, in my opinion, that he was at with Doc. He's past that, and he's on his way to taking the 2 steps forward now. That's just how I see it. For a while,
I guess. I mean, he had intermittent wins
in the results a little bit. Just a little.
As Doc, he still, I think, has had overall cumulative much better results. If you
look
at it.
Cumulative.
And also, he did have
also
those random
also
wins against
take
top
into
5
account
as
the
Doc
time.
too. Yeah, that's true.
I have to point it out that we're in a different era right now because,
exactly.
we have.
Genesis 2 is not as good as 7th place at Apex 2015. Let me tell you that.
Right.
Yeah.
It should be said though, we don't know what his doc would be if he kept working on it. I don't want to,
Sure.
I think it's easy to go that far, but at the same time, you just look at the results. He did beat a ton of people as top 5 players as Doc too. He does have wins under his belt as both characters now, and I think it just shows the work he put in as either.
Yo,
so getting
and now let's
yeah.
switch it up. Oh wait, what do you want to say, Sharon? What do you want
I just
to say?
wanted to say that he had to beat Mewtwo King to get there. So let's not forget that.
Yeah.
And that's actually
although
his
it was
second.
a sick 2 king, but
Whatever.
Get out of here.
We're not gonna let.
Wow, dude. Really, Zeb?
There's.
Well, okay, Mr. Sephiroth, Ken.
Hey, I could do that, man. That's a blur privilege. That's a blur privilege. I can.
That's John
Hey,
Zeb
man.
right there. I don't care.
Hey,
He's beaten M2K already. This is the second time
That's right.
in 2 months that he's.
That's
It
right.
is? Oh,
He beat him at
Where else he
the
been?
Washington tournament.
Yep.
He admittedly lost that tournament 2 sets later, but
Did,
he did.
but a set win over M2K. Very impressive in any case.
Yeah.
Especially, I don't care if it's 6-2 King, loser bracket. M2K usually brings it back in losers.
Yeah.
Not the case. Dewan stuffed him.
And he was up 2-1 on Hungry Box at one point too.
Yeah.
And I have to point out that John's multiple games. It's hard, but for and outplays Mewtwo King. So yeah.
Yep.
So.
But anyway, let's move on to 5th place.
Yo.
What?
Yo.
What?
My man Amsa.
I actually I thought he was gonna lose for 4 rounds in a row. I'm gonna be honest. I was not a believer. I thought I saw Lucky coming up. Lucky had previously beaten him really solid at KOC 4. He beat him in the Salty Suite last year. Really solid. I think it was 3-0. I knew that guy. I knew Joey knew the matchup. I thought that was the end of the road. I was like, all right, Lucky. Lucky, you're gonna have SFAT and Kirby Kaze next. That's Lucky 5th place. I had him pegged. I had the man pegged. And then Joey did what Joey does sometimes. And
oh, come on! You're not gonna give any credit to Amsa.
I'll give credit to Amsa. The man is a sensation. He is a sensation. People, have all the right to call him their favorite Smash, their favorite anything. He just took Yoshi, a character that has by no means a right to be there, to 5th place. What can you say, man? The guy's a legend. There's nothing more to say at this point. He's a legend.
Last year.
I mean, again,
wind back the clocks. Apex 2014. Amsa gets 9th. He beats Fly, Chew, Silent Wolf.
I thought he was 13th.
No, he got 9th. At Apex.
Yeah, he was 1 win away. Kobo took him out.
We all say, all of social media blows up. Amsa, top 20 player in the world, and then all of us say, wait just a minute. Let's look at some more results. He gets popped at MLG. He gets popped at CEO, and
that
then
Japan tournament, he went 2 out of the top bracket.
Didn't even make top whatever.
Lots of pork chops and 1 bow.
One of the greatest mysteries of Amsa is how his Japanese results. That's why I want to really see more streamed Japanese tournaments, because I'm just like, who are these guys? Are they really that legit, or is Amsa not trying in these tournaments? What's going on here? Because it blows my mind that the guy can go 5th at Apex and then 3rd in some Japanese tournament.
I gotta be honest here. I was selling Amsa stock for a long time. When we did the MIOM rankings, I got 24 out of the top 25 correct. The one that I missed was Amsa. I thought there was, it was just a matter of time before people started figuring out when's the right time to approach him or whatever. But he just continues to update his technology.
Yeah.
He did so many parries. It was insane. Every time he saw the Fox come down with a neutral air and he was on the ground, he got that parry at least 50% of the time. And when in Yoshi's punish game, apparently is just insane on Fox. So nobody could deal with the parry technology.
And I think here's another caveat is I think he actually got the hardest bracket possible for a Yoshi. That's a huge thing to say. Because you look at it, I think Fox is Yoshi's hardest matchup because of the mechanics of drill and how it counters parry. And he got all the Foxes in a row. He didn't get Marth or something, which I think, you see how he's dominated the Marth before, or he didn't get a few of the matches I think
round.
Fly helped because I think Ice Climber's Yoshi is doable, but
overall he got sent into losers by SFAT.
Yeah.
Leffen.
He got by Leffen.
It was Leffen? I thought it was SFAT.
And exactly. left out of
round
the part
winners.
of this bracket the guy who knows
Okay.
Yoshi better than anyone
knows
else.
Yoshi and Zoo,
Yeah.
someone who's like
Zoo.
methodical. You think might take out a low tier hero
Yoshi,
like Amsa.
A character that doesn't have an out of shield, jump, and you're just gonna laze them
What
over
does
and over
Amsa
again.
do?
Like
He
Zoo.
double 3-stocks him, dude. That was
Bop, bop, bop.
wow.
And then you got
We talked about
a
Lucky.
slew of foxes. Yeah, Lucky, a guy
We
who's
talked-
also known as a Yoshi Slayer. Like,
That's fat.
SFAT again.
what
Yeah,
more do you need to
James-
know? Like, the guy just got
then-
in a row. Like, the
Yeah.
hardest
And then for
matchups.
all of these years, we've touted Sheik as being, that character that keeps everyone else out of contention.
Oh,
Gets one of the top Sheiks in
Yeah.
the world.
Amsa's
Oh my
best
God,
matchup.
Amsa.
It's his best matchup.
Yeah.
Straight up.
And I also, personally, I think a big part of that was also a lot of people counterpicking him to FD. Yeah, you kind of take away his movement options and, a lot of the tricks he does with that. But you just make his punish game hurt just more and more with that. It's yeah. I don't like that counter
his
pick
up air
against him,
juggles are insane.
Oh yeah.
But at the
Yeah.
same time, we had to talk about our other person in 5th place,
Sure.
who is someone that we all expected to be top 8, but Hungry Box,
Reebok. I gotta say, this was the one side bet that I lost in top 8. I was 9 for 10. This is the one I lost. I didn't know how the Armada Fox would look. I thought Hungry Box, honestly, would roll over him because, as Mango says, nobody beats Hungry Box the first time as Fox, unless you're me. But in Hungry Box, he had a great run through losers. He lost to Pew Pew kind of early in winners, which no credit taken away from Pew Pew at all. He played amazing. But Hungry Box brought it back in losers. I thought he was in a good shape to take it, and Armada just kind of muscled his way over.
And I'll say that Paragon H-Box looked like the best H-Box we've seen. And that's a statement considering Evo 2014 H-Box was a monster,
Yeah,
And you look at it, you go into this tournament, you're thinking maybe this is H-Box's Apex. It could have happened, with Mango having a shaky start to the year, PPMD, all the questions around him, Armada with a character crisis. You're like, H-Box, this is an opening for the man. Gets 5th. I mean, it's not a terrible showing. It's not like he got 9th like Mewtwo King, but I know that there was a window here for H-Box, and maybe he could have done more with it.
Yeah.
Word. But we got to talk about the 4th place finisher. There's a reason why I don't pick this guy to win Apex, and I think he's cursed when it comes to Apex.
Apex Mango showed up. This was Apex
4th place.
Mango.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, we all thought about whether the question during the pre-Apex MIOM was he going to be top 3, and I based my prediction based on looking at his bracket, and I kind of felt like he was gonna have Leffen in winners semis, and for some reason I thought that maybe his desire to redeem himself against Leffen would just overpower the Apex Mango effect for that set, and then whatever happens in winners
I
finals.
actually didn't have him against Leffen in winners semis. I had him versus Mewtwo King in winners semis.
Yeah,
I didn't
same.
expect.
I had Leffen.
Okay.
Yep.
Well,
Same.
then you look at it and you're like, okay, Mango looked like a champ, looked like a legend walking on that stage on Saturday. I thought because of that, Mango's gonna, he's gonna sleep nice. He's gonna be prepared. He's gonna be like tournament Mango. Focused. Boy, was I wrong. The man
Nope.
to lose $1,000. It's almost like he was giving charity out. He gave money to Sweden. He's like, socialism isn't enough. You need more, Leffen. He's just trying to give money to the man. He just handed it to him.
Oh,
It's some of the
man.
worst Mango gameplay, and I say this as a Mango fan, that I've ever
It was
seen.
not
It
good.
was bad. He went out like a buster, and we all know that feeling.
There was a lot of Randy Ford smashes from that Falco.
Mm.
I don't know.
Also,
He said those weren't.
I got to
Go ahead.
go ahead.
He said those weren't forward smashes and they were misinputs.
I see.
Yeah.
Oof.
I believe it.
Those double
But,
lasers from the edge, which were just like, whoa, like what are you doing?
That
You're
was
just-
very, very. That's not the best.
not the best.
But I still think we got to give Mango some credit. I think he may have stolen the show Saturday night after the Salty Sweet
Oh, he
by
definitely
putting down
stomped
that
it.
$1,000 to begin
Chillin'.
then.
It
It definitely
Chillin'
was
would've
looking
been
like.
hearing it for a lot longer if Mango hadn't stepped up with a little bit of the
Yeah.
spotlight.
But
Yeah.
that being said, you kind of went into Chillin versus Leffen, and you thought, Rocky IV, this is Ivan Drago and Apollo Creed, and we all know America ends up in the body bag. That body bag got zip, and then you expect, Mango Rocky to save the day with Adrian, but this one had a rewrite. This was looking more like Bloodsport.
Yeah.
But
I was sad about that. I wanted Mango out on top of this one. I think Mango had the win in game 2, but he missed the rando recovery. As Tove was going, was the Cloud 9. He was going for the Cloud 9. He like went off the stage or something, and he got a kill on Leffen, and he was mounting a comeback. Would have put Leffen on his last stock, and he went for the up E recovery with Falco, and he missed rando, and he died, and he lost his last stock. Yeah. And I think that if he won that, it could have been a bit different. Like he was just on his comeback, so if he survived, I could have seen him taking the next stock just out of momentum.
Maybe.
And riding that there.
Maybe. I mean, the Zip boys in the chat. The Zip
Third
boys in the
place.
chat are complaining. Yeah.
The Zip boys in the chat the Zip boys in the chat, they already know. Zip boys know. Leffen did phenomenal this weekend. I just want to again. I just have like something saying that Prague was right all along. When I said, I voted for Leffen to be number 5 a while back.
Okay.
Yeah,
we'll give you that one. We'll give you that one.
I thank you. Thank you for acknowledging that I knew what I was. Yeah, thank you. But I mean, come on. He went through Larry Allure. He went through AMSA, Mewtwo King, Mango. If you're looking at any year besides 2015. That probably clinches a major. Your name is probably Armada, maybe Hungrybox, maybe PPMD. I think that solidifies the Godslayer era. That he is definitely on that next level. Any more notes on Leffen?
No more doubts. Like if there's anybody who didn't think he was a god now, like cemented.
Yeah, the storyline was already written for him versus Mango, and he just said it's not going to happen. The encrypted ensemble, as I like to call it, like they kept on trucking along, and now he's got the Zip boys in the chat. They're all going crazy. There's a whole group of believers who are ready to just cheer on the heel, and he takes that role, and it's one of the coolest storylines that Melee's seen in years.
The interesting thing for me,
he's lucky he didn't find me in bracket.
Thing about it is.
Yeah.
That's right.
But I think the interesting thing about it is when you're looking at him having to get to that $1,000 money match with Mango, he has to get to history first. He has to slay all the gods. He beats Mewtwo King. We haven't even talked about that yet. He beat Mewtwo King on the way to Mango before beating him too. He did it. He completed it.
First person ever to beat all 5.
Wobbles was one away because he could never get Armada because the icy speech.
Yeah.
That's a high bar to stand.
Never gonna happen.
But yeah, the dude Leffen did it, man. He did it finally. He found Mewtwo King on the right day. He played well. He got all the way, and he finished on a very respectable 3rd place. Nothing more to say about it. The man's the truth.
Now let's take it to the alliance with Sweden. Armada 2nd place, which seems to be something that's been kind of recurring for him. Thoughts on Armada's performance? I thought the Fox is so real. The Peach is still there. It's still good, but the Fox is so real and disgusting. Ugh.
I just feel like something's off about his Peach. I don't know what it is exactly, but I just feel like something's off about it. And we've seen him expressing doubt in the character in this current meta that he says. He says it's too slow. And he's been saying that for maybe the last month and a half. And, I don't know. Maybe he's just convinced himself of that. And, his game has gone down with his Peach because it just seems off. I don't know if you guys, share that sentiment. I can't really put my finger on it, but it just seems, different.
I'm going to make a bold statement. I think that no matter the metagame progression that we've made all this time, if you take Apex 2013 Armada and you place him into a tournament right now, this is before his retirement, I'm not sure if he just doesn't win the whole thing. Because I remember that Apex 2013 Armada, where he just, dominated PP Falco in Winners Finals in the most stunned silence crowd that we've seen in a long time. That looked like the peak to me, but I think there's been so much down in his head, maybe too much talking to Mewtwo King. The Johns are filling his head. Who knows? He's hanging out with the wrong people, though. He's in the wrong crowd. So he's moved on. You know, he's trying this Fox thing out, and obviously he's a top level player. He's going to do well. This is the first time we've seen Armada with a character that can actually move, and you know he's going to do well with those kind of resources.
Yeah.
But I gotta say that I'm in that part of that phase, just like I was with Hack switching to Fox when it first happened, where my heart can't let go. I'm like, you know, the Titanic in that scene where I just can't let go. I love the Peach too much for me to accept it quite yet, to accept what he has brought to Fox as a character. Just like Hax has really revolutionized Fox and changed our perception of how that character plays. It's gonna take a little time for me to accept it, but overall, obviously, his Fox is legit, and it's not like what we saw in that Genesis 1 Grand Finals where his Fox was a joke and was kind of just an afterthought of that set.
Yeah.
Well, can we just have a moment of silence for Armada's Peach?
You know, I'm not ready to let go. He took PP to game. He took PP to game 5. He took PP to game 5. No.
Have you ever seen a Peach come back on Marth like that? Did you see that it was basically a 0 to death that one game on
besides every Armada M2K set at the end of game 1 ever.
Well,
but besides that,
any Peach besides Armada, no Peach comes back on Marth like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and you know, like I'm gonna say this, I think right now the chat's talking about how Armada's Peach dominated PPM these Falcons at this tournament as well. It was the Marth that gave him trouble in 2013, but I think that who knows if he kept with Peach? We don't know how far he would have gone. It's not like it's impossible for his Peach to have gotten second as well. That's something he does on a routine basis. So it's hard to say.
What?
Obviously, he's going to experiment with it a little.
Crimson Blur.
Like,
Crimson Blur. Do you know, though? We didn't talk about the man that won it all. We had to go with the guy who, after a 6-month hiatus, returned to the scene and took home Apex Trophy, defending it. Evil Genius's PPMD, and I think that's about enough to wrap up the show.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for tuning in to Melee It On Me. We're going to leave the cliffhanger. We want you to think about that. We want your feedback. Hit us up on Twitter. If you want to know more, you want to talk to us about it. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Big thank you to everyone on the show, especially Warchamp, for being our special guest on this evening. And, well, guys, PPMD, any final thoughts on him? Let's close with these thoughts. Anything?
I just want to say, like, the thing that struck me about PP is he seemed like he was taking the most conservative approach on all his combos. He wasn't going for the big spikes, for the big tippers, but somehow, like, it all worked out. Like, he just chose to maintain control of the match at all times. And you look at his dash dancing on FD, especially against people like Pew Pew, it's just amazing. He's got just such precise control of where he wants to be as a character. That's what strikes me.
We'll talk more about PP next show because we're hitting that 2-hour mark.
All right.
All right, we got to cut out the show. Everyone tune into twitch.tv/not20xx. We're restreaming the losers bracket from Apex. Everyone have a good night.
Night.
Good night, everybody.
Have a good night, guys. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.